Hey everybody, this is Organic Dairyman. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody is having a good day. My day is going good so far. Today's date is Wednesday, May 23rd, and we got a little bit of rain this morning, about a couple tenths of rain, and so really can't do much out in the field. So I had a little time. I have a little time right now, and I know I had some people that were kind of inquiring about a little bit more about our fertilizer. People that were interested in what exactly it is we do, and I just wanted to go a little bit more in depth about the fertilizer that we have. And anyways, right here I have a little sample of some fertilizer here, this fertilizer mix is a three-way blend. It contains, phosphorus, potassium sulfate, and humates. So it has, a little bit of, like I say, potassium in there, and sulfur and phosphorus. And the humates, as you can see, this is like a little hunk of it right here. It looks kind of like a little soft shale rock. Like I said in a previous video, all it is the remains of dead plants and animals that have become compressed. There wasn't enough pressure and heat to compress it to turn it to coal, so it just kind of ended up in this shale rock kind of things. But yeah, this is kind of the what it looks like close up here. So yeah, but I wanted to go a little bit more in depth about it. Obviously, I want to emphasize it does not contain any nitrogen in it. No units of nitrogen at all. And you're probably thinking, well, where do we get all the nitrogen from when you're organic? The bulk, or I'd say probably half or so, maybe 2/3 of the nitrogen that we get for the crops come from cattle manure that we have, and then the rest of it comes from like legume crops that we grow, like alfalfa or red clover. Like usually what we'll do is when we'll have a hay field in the hay for 4 years, we'll break it up and then put corn in that, because obviously the alfalfa has been fixing nitrogen into the soil, and that's what will make help give the corn nitrogen. And we take all that manure too, and we plow that under, so the nitrogen gets released into the soil. And it seems to be pretty effective. If you get good rains, you can get fairly good yields on it that way. But yeah, that's where we get the bulk of our nitrogen from. And yeah, and this fertilizer too, like I said in the previous video, we get it. It comes from an open pit mine, and I think it's how you pronounce it, Mesa Versa, New Mexico. And yeah, they truck it up here, obviously, as you saw in one of my videos. And what the pricing of it is, it kind of varies, and depending on what kind of blend you get. The blend that we have, I think it's running, I'd have to stop and subtract out the freight on there, but I think it's somewhere around $400 to $450 a ton for fertilizer for that. And that doesn't include the freight on it. Obviously, the further you live from the mine, the more the freight's going to cost that you get it shipped here. We just put on the rate, the particular rate, and the blend basically kind of, the rate is kind of based off, what we put on is based off the test weight of it. I can't even remember what the test weight of this stuff was, but and obviously the blend too is based off what our soil samples. We take soil samples every fall. Our soil consultant actually does. He takes them off and sends them off to the lab where they get analyzed, and based off that's what he recommends that we put on, or whatever we can afford to put on. And so, but yeah, that's kind of how it works. The fertilizer program that we deal with is based off of what they call the Kinsey-Albrecht system, and it was developed originally by Dr. William Albrecht, and Neil Kinsey was someone that worked under him. He was younger. It's Dr. Albrecht. He died in 1974. Neil Kinsey, obviously, he's still alive yet. And this Dr. Albrecht, he went around the world and he collected samples of some of the best soils in the world, and he wanted to find out what they all had in common, what made them so good and so fertile. And so with that, he basically developed the system that he came up with. The testing and like, so all of the soil samples and everything, we usually send our soil samples off to the Kinsey lab. It's in Missouri. I think it's in the University of Missouri. And basically everything is kind of based off what the standard that Dr. Albrecht originally developed. This Neil Kinsey guy, he kind of helped to perfect it a little bit better and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. And I just kind of want to read you something off my phone here about Dr. Albrecht and the thing of why we go. Okay, this is off of Wikipedia. Okay, here it says he was the chairman of the Department of Soils at the University of Missouri and was the foremost authority on the relation of soil fertility to human health, and earned 4 degrees from the University of Illinois. As an emeritus professor of soils at the University of Missouri, he saw a direct link between soil quality, food quality, and human health. He drew direct connections between poor quality forage crops and ill health in livestock, and this developed a formula for ideal ratios of cations in the soil, the base cation saturation ratio. While he did not discover cation ion exchange in the soil as sometimes supposed, he may have been the first to associate it with colloidal clay particles. He served as 1939 president of the Soil Science Society of America. So that's a little bit about him. And here's a little bit more. Dr. Albrecht was outspoken on matters of declining soil fertility, having identified that, and due to lack of organic material, major elements, and trace minerals, he was thus responsible for poor crops, or it was thus responsible for poor crops in turn for pathological conditions in animals fed deficient foods such as soils. So that's kind of like why we like this program, because it's so important that the soil is healthy, and that's the thing too. Like with these humates, one thing that we've noticed, like you take these out and you spread this out on the field, and you come out there a couple days later, and you'll actually could see these things will actually look like they're sinking into the soil. But what's really going on is the bacteria or the microorganisms are eating it. It's food for the microorganisms, and that's one thing that Dr. Albrecht and even this Neil Kinsey, they realized that you have to feed the soil. The soil has to be fed. The soil is a living, breathing organism, and primarily by doing what we're doing is the main focus is to feed the soil and let the soil feed the plant. The microorganisms, they break down all the micronutrients and trace elements that are in this stuff, and in turn then the plant, the little root hairs in the plant, they will take that in and use that for the nutrients that the plant needs. And that's kind of like what we our biggest thing is that why we went with this program, because it just makes sense to do it that way. Basically all other conventional fertilizers, They basically, their focus on them is, just to feed the plant for the year. Just feed it N, P, and K, and that's basically what feeds the plant. But ours, we're trying to feed the soil first, and then let the soil feed the plant. That's the primary thinking behind it. And not only that, but the simple thing is that conventional synthetic fertilizers are like water soluble, and that's why they're salty, because they basically break down really fast in moisture. But the downside of that, if you were to get a big rainstorm or something like that, and it can wash away your fertilizer really fast, because it's water soluble, it breaks down, and it can end up in downstream and whatever, and then hence you have a big problem with phosphorus or nitrates in the water or whatever like that. And so the fertilizer that we get, it's like you can see how it's straight out of the mine, and so it's not going to break down just like that, and run away in the water. It's going to stay there in the soil and keep breaking down and gradually building up the soil over time. And we can see, since we've been using been on this fertilizer program, we can see that the nutrition or the nutrient density in our crops go up. It's reflected in our feed sample, because we take feed samples of everything and we send it into a lab and get it analyzed to see what's all in it, and we can see that it's going up. And the simple fact is, if you have healthy soil, you're going to have healthy plants. If you have healthy plants, the cows are going to be healthy. And if the cows are healthy, anyone that drinks that milk is going to have healthy milk, and they're going to be healthy. And so everything stems from the soil. The soil is like the foundation for everything, and that's kind of like what we focus on our farm, because I personally myself, I feel like I have a moral obligation to provide a good, healthy product, whether it's any of our crops that we sell or our milk, that the consumer is getting the best quality, safe product out there. And not only that, when you're organic, the consumer is paying double for the product, and I want to make sure that they're getting what they pay for. And so we really try hard on our farm to give the consumer the highest quality, most nutritious product that we can give them. And like I said, it all starts with the soil. You have to make sure the soil is healthy. The other thing too is, like, different things can affect your pH levels in your soil. Bacteria prefers pH level, I can't remember which one it is. One prefers a lower and one prefers a higher. The idea pH level is like a 6.2 or something, 6.5 range kind of in there, but funguses prefer one or the other, and so you want to kind of keep a happy balance where you keep the funguses in check, the bacteria in your soils in check, and so things don't get out of hand. And healthy soil, it does affect everything. It affects crop diseases. It can cause that. Even pests. Even pests are known to, or probably more prone to attack a nutrient deficient crop versus a deficient crop. And I don't, I've seen it on our alfalfa ground. Sometimes we've had problems in years past with alfalfa weevils, and it seems like when you fertilize it better, you have less problems with it. And I don't exactly know why, if the pest can detect that somehow or whatever, but everything boils down to soil fertility. Having good healthy soil, is Neil Kinsey says you have to build the house.
Hello everyone. Thanks for watching this video. I'm going to do this video in a two-part series, and sorry for the inconvenience here, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, I just want to thank everyone for watching this video. Please like, rate, and subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave a comment down in the section below, and I will be uploading part 2 shortly after this video. And thanks, and I'll catch you later.